welcome to this deep dive into those arguments. You know, the ones that sound a little off,
Yeah,
but you can't quite place why they're wrong.
right.
We're tackling logical fallacies today,
Absolutely.
and we're using excerpts that you sent in from Wikiversity's Recognizing Fallacies.
Like having a toolkit,
Right,
for
if
your
they...
brain to break down those arguments, whether
Yeah.
you're at the office or scrolling through the news or even, just chatting with a friend, and someone's logic isn't quite adding up.
Yeah, I mean, I think about this all the time with like online arguments and stuff. You know, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
how do you even begin to say, hey, this is wrong? But before we even get to the how, like, why should we even care about fallacies in the
Mm,
first place? Isn't it like everyone's entitled to their own opinion?
right. Everyone's got their opinions.
Right.
But think of it this way. It's not about whether you're right or wrong. It's about the how you get there, the structure of the argument itself. It's like, imagine building a house on a
Okay.
shaky foundation.
Yeah.
It might look good from a distance, but it's not going to hold up under any real pressure. And using a fallacy in your argument, that's that shaky foundation.
So it undermines the whole point you're trying to make.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And this is where I think that whole applied wisdom thing comes in. I know that sounds a little
Yeah.
hokey, but the Wikiversity page called it that. And honestly, it does kind of make you feel like a logic superhero or something.
Great. You get to be the fallacy detective.
Yeah.
But really, let's think about how often we're bombarded with arguments daily. Convincing your boss for that raise, debating which film to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Heck, even just figuring out dinner. This isn't just about winning arguments. This is about thinking clearly.
Yeah.
It's about knowing your decisions are based on solid ground.
Okay, yeah. I'm on board with this. This is cool. So, bad logic, we're on to you. But how did we even get here? Where did this whole concept come from?
You can thank the ancient Greeks for this one.
Okay.
Aristotle, in
Yeah.
particular, he was the OG, breaking down these common logical errors way back when.
Aristotle was like the original fallacy buster.
He was curating the first greatest hits list of logic fails.
Lapses.
Yeah.
So, if we've been studying these fallacies for centuries, I have a feeling this isn't exactly a short list, is it?
That's the tricky part. Aristotle got us started, but there's still no official master list.
Mhm.
The page you sent even mentions over 100 fallacies. Some people list over 300. It gets complex.
Okay. So, no need to memorize a textbook here.
Great.
But if it's this tricky to nail down, where do we even start?
Don't worry, it's not total chaos. Even with all these fallacies, there are some common threads, broader categories.
Okay.
The Wikiversity page points out a few major ones.
Okay.
That's a great place to start.
All right, let's do it. Break it down for me. What's the first category of fallacy I should be ready for? All right, give me that first category. What kind of fallacy should I be on the lookout for in the wild?
Okay, well, let's start with these fallacies of relevance. So, picture this. You're trying to convince someone to watch a movie, and your main argument is that it has a really, really catchy theme song.
Oh, I've definitely fallen for that one before.
Right.
Catchy theme song does not equal a good movie.
Exactly. A great theme song, awesome bonus. But it doesn't actually tell you anything about the plot, the acting,
Right, right.
whether it's actually worth your 2 hours.
So it's like someone trying to distract me with a laser pointer while the real argument is happening over there.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how flashy or fun or shiny something seems
Yeah,
if it doesn't actually back up the point you're trying to make.
got it.
Mm.
Don't be distracted by the irrelevant stuff. What else falls under these fallacies of relevance?
Think about those times, like in an online debate or something, where you'll see someone say, well, that politician who supports this bill, they were caught in a scandal once, so their argument is automatically invalid.
Oh, yes. The classic ad hominem attack.
There it is.
It's like they're attacking the person instead of the actual idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere these days, especially on social media.
Wow.
Way easier to just discredit someone than actually, engage with the points.
Right. Way easier. Okay, so that's irrelevant arguments. Up next, we have fallacies of presumption. Does this get presumptuous?
You could say that. This category is all about jumping to conclusions without that solid evidence. Like, remember that old saying, don't assume, because when you assume,
You make an ass out of you and me.
had to do it.
Of course. But, jokes aside, it really illustrates that point perfectly.
Those assumptions, they lead to misunderstandings, wrong conclusions, all that.
Okay, so what does a fallacy of presumption look like in the wild?
Imagine you're talking with a friend and they're saying, if they ban gas-powered cars, that's it. Next they'll come for our grills, our lawnmowers, everything. we'll be back in the dark ages.
Okay, the slippery slope, right? Like it's all downhill from one tiny decision.
Nailed it. That's a classic presumption fallacy.
Yeah.
Taking one possibility and acting like it automatically dictates this whole chain of events.
And it's never good events, is it? It's always the worst case scenario.
Exactly. And it derails the conversation because you can't even address the initial point.
Right, right. Okay, so we've got irrelevant arguments, hasty assumptions. What's our last category to watch out for?
This one is called fallacies of ambiguity. And these are sneaky. We're talking fuzzy language, words with multiple meanings.
Ah, this sounds tricky.
It can be.
Give me an example. I want to make sure I can spot it.
Okay, so imagine you're, say, reading an ad for a new health product. And the big selling point is made with all natural ingredients.
Okay, sounds good to me. I like natural things.
Right. Who doesn't? But here's the thing. Just because something's natural, that doesn't automatically make it healthy. I mean, arsenic is natural.
Oh, that's a good point.
Poison ivy, totally natural.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
That word natural, it means a lot of things.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's about using that vague language to make something sound more appealing, more convincing than maybe it really is.
Like a smoke screen.
Yeah,
It looks impressive at first, but then you get closer and it's like, wait a minute.
exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see how easy it is to fall for these things.
Right.
But it does feel good to finally have a framework for understanding them.
I agree.
Okay, so we've got our fallacy decoder rings on, ready to spot these things.
Laugh.
What are some real-world examples, like how do these fallacies actually show up?
All right, so let's say you're in a meeting, right?
Okay.
And someone is presenting a new marketing campaign, and they're like, look at these numbers. They're through the roof. Clearly, this is the best approach.
Well, hold on. Just because something's popular or has big numbers, does that automatically make it the best?
There it is. You just hit on a fallacy.
Yeah.
The appeal to popularity.
Oh, right.
Just because everyone's doing it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's the most logical, the most effective.
Like, remember when those digital pet rocks were a thing? Sorry.
And then, poof, gone. Just because something's trendy doesn't mean it's actually good.
Exactly. Speaking of numbers, though, here's another one to watch out for. The false cause. And this one gets especially tricky when you throw statistics in there.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds dangerous.
Right.
How does that one usually go?
Imagine a headline like, coffee drinkers live longer. Sounds great.
Yeah, time for more coffee.
Right, but it ignores everything else. Maybe coffee drinkers, I don't know, maybe they also exercise more. Maybe they have a healthier diet in general.
It's not just the coffee.
Exactly. It's saying one thing causes the other without that real proof.
So we've got to watch out for those appeals to popularity, those sneaky false causes disguised as, like, hard data.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What other fallacies should we have on our radar? Let's say you're having a debate, right?
Mhm.
Something important like healthcare. And your opponent says, listen, either we have free healthcare for everyone or we're heartless and don't care if people get sick.
Ugh, that's the worst. It's like they don't even want to have a real discussion.
Right. And that's a false dilemma. Like, there are only two options and both of them are extreme.
And usually one option is, like, obviously awful.
Of course. It's a way to shut down any nuance, any other possibilities.
Okay, so no more false dilemmas.
And more.
Keep it nuanced, people.
Where you go?
Okay, so it sounds like it's time to put this applied wisdom, this logic, superhero training into practice.
Absolutely.
Listeners, go forth and be the fallacy busters the world needs.
Hear, hear.
That's going to do it for this deep dive into the world of logical fallacies.
That was a good one.
Until next time, stay curious, keep those minds sharp,